Assalamu alaikum. I'm your host Salim bin Muhammad Rafi, and this is my YouTube channel. And I'm saying this thing just from the Nawab that people forget it. I think in the same way when you look at UAE and look at their very ambitious development of making Abu Dhabi as hub, it's the same thing. It's a center of immorality. It's a center where you can buy liquor easily. We will find women prostitutes gathered from all around the Central Republics, and now gambling, prostitution, alcohol, all the ills of development are there. Is this a development which a Muslim country wants? Is this something which you can measure with any yardstick? And what has happened to you with your traditions? What happened to you, to your history? What about the Ottoman Empire and that Muslim rulers? What about even Mughal empires? 800 years of Mughals, you know, in India. They left India as a golden sparrow with GDP of nearly 30%. And look at what Ottoman did. Nearly two-thirds of the world, they were there, they ruled over there. And what they left? They left a culture, science, the medicine, astronomy, mathematics, everything good for the mankind, bravery. And the Europeans picked from what the Muslims left. And when they were living in just like barbarians, when they had no clean water, even in a beer barrel, they will fill it up with the dirty water. And whole family, father, mother, daughters, sons, they will take a bath in the same barrel water because there wasn't a running water. There was no such thing as hot water. And that is what the Europe was like in the 10th century. And imagine that how the Ottomans taught them, Ottomans how showed them how to do cleanliness, the wuzu, the ghusl, and we coming back to that primitive life. We want to copy them, and we are not grateful to our own ancestors and own elders. And isn't that a shame? Now let me tell you about Pakistan. I see no gratitude in Pakistan either. When the British left, the Pakistan Air Force was left without pilots because the PAF pilots abandoned the Air Force, which was in its infancy. He was a Jew, a Polish. That fellow stayed, he opted to stay with the Pakistan Air Force and became a very strong pillar with some of his colleagues who managed the Pakistan Air Force and see where he built from infancy and see where it is today. Going to show you that story in two parts, and you will see for yourself after I've shown you the Nawab of Bahawalpur, how he donated and gifted his Rolls Royce and fleet of cars to the Saudi king and the governors. I think being an ungrateful, and similarly the UAE, it's the PIA, Pakistan International Airline, which flew the Emirates and lent some of its planes to start that airline. And look at that fleet now in hundreds. Same thing is the Pakistani Air Force, Pakistani airline pilots who flew the Singapore airline. So Pakistan has done a great favor to these countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Singapore. Unfortunately, as we see in America, USA, both wars, the Vietnam War as well as the Afghanistan War, was helped by Pakistan to finish and let United States as face saving and get out of that war situation. USA had no relationship with China. They didn't recognize it. China was not a member of the United Nations, so they could not uh, prevail upon China. And it was China was the main supporter in Vietnam. In fact, it was China who was fighting the Vietnam War against Americans. So there was no way that they could have a respectful exit. So what happened? Henry Kissinger, the Nixon's aide, he went to Islamabad, flew on a PIA flight facilitated by Pakistan to go and meet Mao in China. And that was the first breakthrough between the two countries. See how ungrateful America has been and how hostile it has been towards Pakistan. Stopped the aid, stopped the spare parts of F 16, never ever sent 7th Fleet. I think they did everything to break Pakistan. They, like vampires, they sucked every drop of blood of Pakistan. And sanction after sanctions, they tried to destroy Pakistan. Is this the way to pay back to your friends who have helped you in time of crisis? Honestly, it is a matter of shame. The pages in history will be with dark, dark shadows. To be a superpower with such a contact is despicable. Same thing happened in Afghanistan. Blame after blame, blame after blame to Pakistan. Do more, do more, do more. A small, tiny country with a very, very, very thin and very vulnerable economy. And you claim yourself with the economy in trillions to be a superpower, and you are begging a small, tiny country, and you're pressurizing that small country. You are blackmailing that small country. What a conduct! What a way to express your gratitude and friendship towards a small, tiny country which has helped you. So, how can you, as a Pakistani, blame when you have friends like USA, friends like UAE Prince Rashid, friends like you have now Muhammad Sulaiman, uh, you know, his son, MSB, not the king. King is, I think, is very decent, very benevolent, and is full of kindness. And unfortunately, he's old. If he wasn't old, I think he would be a very honest king, and he would not allow what's going on at the moment in Saudi Arabia on the name of development. Singapore is the same thing. Lee Kuan is, you know, he is hailed as building Singapore and Singapore's economy. A lot of people has helped Singapore. Even Lee Kuan spent a lot of time in Pakistan, and he practiced law. He had clients, both Muslims and Hindus, and he knows what Pakistan did for Singapore. But does Singapore have any soft corner for Pakistan? No. When PIA is in trouble, no other country is uh, sympathetic. They all want to take the PIA's business away from Pakistan. Their own, I think, leaders did worst by robbing every tiny penny and extract it from the poor people. And they took all their money abroad and built their castles, built their empires, and they left that poor Pakistanis from going from a middle class society to a poor poverty, and from poverty to now nearly paupers. And they are now getting worse and worse and worse. And even in this worst situation, we have a prime minister. We had previously we had traitors who divided the country. Only to become prime minister, they let the East Pakistan go. Then we had military dictators. Some of them were good, benevolent, like Ayub Khan and Ziaul Haq, but most of the others they did very little to advance the development of Pakistan. The credit must be given to General Musharraf as well, but he lost the opportunity by giving them an arrow to the corrupt elite, and he forgave them. So that neutralized what great things he had done in those 10 years to save the nation from a robber. And how nicely he was robbing the country under the guise of democracy, and so did the Sardari and Bhutto family.